Brilliant dialogue leaves a lasting impact.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
It sticks in the minds of the audience and can even outgrow the film itself.
May the 4th be with you.
It moves plots and characters forward.
We got to be Tuco. All right, cut out the middleman, run our own game.
And gives your hero and supporting cast their unique voices.
Do or do not. There is no try.
But to communicate that perfect line, you need to understand the intricacies of dialogue formatting. And that starts with the 3 basic parts that compose it. All dialogue begins with a character heading, also known as a character cue, character caption, or character slug. Otto.
I'm sorry I didn't get him here earlier. Got distracted.
These contain the name of the speaking character written in all caps, on its own line, double spaced below whatever came before it. And it uses a left margin of about 3.75 inches. You'll find a slightly different number depending on which book or screenwriting software you're referencing, but a 3.75-inch left margin is a good middle ground that shouldn't bother anybody. The most important thing here is to keep the name consistent. While you can usually get away with using variants of your character's name in the narrative description, the name you use for each character cue should be exactly the same. Not only does this help the reader keep track of who's who, but it'll make production happy when they have to track which characters are in each scene. Parenthetical directions, also known as dialogue parentheticals, actors' directions, personal directions, and Riley's, describe how a line is delivered, or what a character is doing during their dialogue.
Forgot to brush. Do you want this anemone to sting you?
Looks at it. Beat.
Yes. Brush.
When you do use them, parentheticals should have a left margin of about 3.25 inches. Stern.
Teachers, it's come to my attention that some of you, one of you, think it's okay to go over my head.
In general, Riley should not be wider than 2 inches. Begin with a pronoun, begin with a capital letter, or end in punctuation. They should also never include camera directions or sound effects. Tracking.
Hey! Don't pull that gun on me, man. Take the shot. No.
Pop, pop, pop. Those belong in the narrative description if they're needed at all. Parentheticals also shouldn't include actions for anyone other than the speaking character.
Stop writing!
Lucius writes, stop writing.
I mean it!
Those again belong in the description. And even when the direction is for the speaking character, it should be within the flow of the dialogue and kept to only a few words.
Here, you give me your...
Takes her resume.
Thank you. Linear, smoke, vec, that's some serious heat. What's,
Off resume.
What's UPS? That's in Chicago, or...?
In that same vein, parentheticals shouldn't really be placed at the end of a dialogue paragraph because that would mean they aren't within the flow of the speech.
Yeah.
Brave thumbs up. And instead should just be written into the narrative description that comes after. While parentheticals should be used sparingly, they certainly still have their place in screenwriting, and we'll be discussing them more in depth in an upcoming video, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when that drops. But right now, we're finally getting to the actual dialogue, also called speech.
I didn't know they take SATs in China.
They don't. I wasn't talking about China anymore. I was talking about me.
Which obviously indicates what the characters in the cues actually say. Speech usually has about a 2.5-inch left margin and is kept no wider than 4 inches.
Well, I was thinking I'd just nip it in the bud before it gets worse. Because they were talking about in health class how pregnancy, it can often lead to an infant.
It's written in standard capitalization, but does not include any paragraph breaks. If you do need to break up dialogue, then there are 2 techniques to consider. If appropriate, you can use a quick dialogue parenthetical.
Mi amor, if you ever want to talk...
I gotta put out the stuff. The house isn't gonna decorate itself.
Off the offended house.
Sorry, you could. You look great. Corazon.
Or you can break things up with a bit of description.
I've not missed a first day of truffle season ever, and will not start now. She's not a cruel maniac.
The doors smash open. Catherine storms
I wanted to talk to you. Firstly, meet Coco Atina.
But if you do, you'll need another character heading before returning to the dialogue. And you'll usually see an abbreviation of continued in a heading parenthetical, though it isn't mandatory unless there's a page break. There's actually a slight trend away from adding continued otherwise since it's redundant information, but many screenwriting programs include it by default, so you'll still most often see it included in the heading parenthetical. And if you're wondering what exactly a heading parenthetical even is, then you'll want to check out this video for a deep dive into character headings.